Sonic_Geno. We are back. It's Vleeties. We took a week off. I don't even remember why, but we took a week off. We had a bunch of football to talk about last time. I don't remember what else I had to do. Something came up, Geno, but we're back, and I've been watching
wrestling. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
Thank you, Ricardo. Geno, do you still watch wrestling?
Hell yeah, man. This entire week, the past 2 weeks have just been amazing wrestling, both Impact, AEW, WWE even has gotten so much better with the whole Triple H, Stephanie in charge. Nick Khan's just probably doing the whole business stuff, trying to sell this if he can, while we're trying to make it better, which I'm just really excited to see where all this is going, man.
These fucking camera cuts, Geno, it's the worst show I've ever seen. No, WWE has been fantastic. Does that still bother you? Does the camera cuts bother you?
I'm noticing it less because there actually is good wrestling now. I think the real big reason is we had matches that were always like rematches of matches we've already seen, so it wasn't always anything different. So when I could see a match that I already know what's happening, that's what like the camera cuts I could notice. I'm just like, oh, it's more and more it obscures my vision. I just can't pay attention to the matches.
You're just fake.
This past Monday, I loved.
That's just fake wrestling fan stuff. That's message board. Like, I need to hate something about it. Like, I gotta hate something. So yeah, I knew it. I know you, Geno. I know that people don't actually even give a shit about camera cuts. Like, that's such a oh, what does the internet say? Oh, the camera cuts. I'm gonna count the camera cuts. There's people that sit there with a stopwatch when they're watching Raw and they're like, 3-minute match, stupid. How you gonna tell a story in 3 minutes? Like, there's people that watch wrestling like they're angry all the time. So yes, we did take some time off. Kevin isn't as happy with the product as I am. Obviously, Friday there was a huge return. Karrion Kross, remember him? He's back. Last night I watched Raw today. There was a little tease that a certain Dexter Lumis might be back in the WWE. So this era of Triple H has everybody so excited that I think even, like, no offense, jaded wrestling fans like you, Geno, are kind of more optimistic than you've been in a very long time.
Not just with those returns. Like that thing with Monday Night Raw, we actually had a match. I was surprised how good it was. That was Dolph Ziggler, Chad Gable. I was like, this is two amateur wrestling guys giving us basically either both an amateur wrestling match, but also kind of like an independent match. It felt different than what we've had in a while, and it was a really great wrestling match we had.
I want to yell at you for saying things like that. It felt like an independent match because I've watched so many shitty independent matches. I think I'm going to TSW Plus this Saturday night in Irving, Texas. So, like, I know what an independent match is. So maybe you don't mean it like that. Maybe you mean it like, no, it felt like a really good in-ring spectacle with little storyline, and it was just a good match. Like, maybe that's what you mean, but like an independent match could mean, like, I watched Carlito lose in 4 minutes to Blood Hunter, and then Blood Hunter busted the referee wide open, and he almost bled out and died. Oh my gosh, independent wrestling is gross, Geno. But yeah, I don't know. That's just a Geno thing to say. Like, it felt like an indie match. Like, the indies put out a lot of bad shit, so it's kind of hard to go like, it's indie. But I thought Raw was fantastic. I still think what the show suffers from, and maybe I fast forwarded it or missed it, but there just needs to be a big gold belt on that show somewhere. Like, somewhere on Raw, you need a world title. Like, when I watch AEW, it needs, one of the issues when Hangman was champion, or even when Mox was champion the first time, you would almost forget that they were the main figurehead on the show. Like, they were the most important thing. Should be that world title. Like, when you watch Impact, you know who the world fucking champion is. Like, I feel like with a lot of these other companies, they're kind of missing that mark. And with Raw not even having, like, Roman Reigns not being there at all, not even being mentioned, it does almost, like, the show ended with AJ just kind of like, woo! Like, that's how the show ended, at least on Hulu Raw. So I don't know. It's just don't mean, if I'm Triple H, aren't you bringing a belt to the show eventually?
Well, I mean, what we have right now and what they are trying to do because of this issue with Roman Reigns not working full time anymore is we're making our mid-card titles more prestigious like we need to. We have packages all about the U.S. title. We have a U.S. title match that we set up last week with 2 triple threat matches to make it seem like, yes, there's a number one contender. And we have our number one contender actually have a really good backstory on why he deserves to have this match and gets this big moment, has this amazing contest with Bobby Lashley. So at least makes it feel special.
You're cracking a little bit. You're popping. I'm not sure if that's on my end or what's happening there. I don't know if something's loose over there. But I do agree. Like that's a great call out, that the United States Championship, especially with Bobby being the champion and Ciampa putting on such a great match, and Triple H, if you're listening, Tommaso Ciampa, can we fix some things? Like some things, his return should have signaled like some things are going to get fixed. His name's going to be Tommaso Ciampa. His name's going to be Austin Theory. Like there's things easy tweaks that we can make that Vince like, oh, well, no one knows how to chant, no one knows how to chant Adrian Neville. They'll know how to chant Neville. Like some things that are so stupid. Like it's not like we grew up not knowing how to chant Stone Cold Steve Austin. Like we didn't do that. We can figure it out. So yeah, I think we need to fix some of these things, Gino.
And hopefully we do. Like that's the thing we're gonna have to see like long term. If maybe this whole Ciampa thing, especially because that match did really tease a certain somebody also coming back, especially with Corey Graves mentioning him a lot when a certain move was hit or locked in, especially. So like we have teased that maybe Ciampa may change and hopefully he'll become like a babyface or heel, and maybe he'll get his name back with a certain friend of his coming back too.
Did they say Gargano? Like, did they make reference that he's coming back? I saw. Is the DIY, is that the Gargano escape? I saw Ciampa do that. Does he ever do that move? Or I thought that was that was the main part in the match where I was like, why is he doing Gargano's finisher? And why is he trying to do it on Lashley? Because it doesn't look like it hurts at all.
That's the whole thing. Like when he did do the Gargano escape, and Corey Graves was on microphone talk, but the Gargano escape DIY. He actually mentioned DIY. So it's like Corey, NXT guy, gets to speak about NXT Tag Team Legacy, and possibly get this is teasing it, and also get the reports of there is another person from NXT who's in talks with coming back, and Shawn Michaels, the guy talking to Gargano about it. So hopefully Gargano does get to come back, and we get DIY back. Let's
reconnect, Gino, because it clicks every time you're talking. So we're going to disconnect, and we're going to reconnect, because I don't know if that's coming through. Like when I was just talking to Zach, it was not doing that. So I'm assuming it's a Discord issue or something. But now Discord altogether seems to be crashing. So this is going to be fun to do this without Discord. We might have to go back to Zoom just for the evening here if Discord is going to give out on us. So it looks like it's rebooting. So that's good news. So let's see. Oh, it made a sound. That's a good sound. So let's go back to Gino here. Let's give him a video call. Looks like we're already on a video call. Let's hang up. Now let's call him. Start video call. So yeah, fascinating stuff. I didn't hear him say Gargano specifically. I didn't hear him mention him specifically. Sonic Gino, the reconnection. How did it go?
Hopefully this is going to fix it. Again, I have no idea why it all of a sudden crackles as this issue. Hopefully it's fixed now, but we'll see.
Sounds good. We missed a couple hydrates from Ricardio. Here's a sip. Another sip. So, yeah, Triple H back. Triple H at the helm seems to be doing wonders for this whole WWE thing. So, really like that. I also did watch, took me a while, I did watch Ric Flair's last match. So that was another thing that I think you were really excited for. Almost like you were more excited for that than SummerSlam. I don't know how real that is. Like, let's do this first. Was SummerSlam different? Because I know it's like a joke because Steve said it and then Kevin shat on it. But what are your thoughts? How different was it? Like, is it just a mental thing? Like, I feel like Vince could have put on that pay-per-view. I don't know what the different was.
I think like the big difference, especially like now coming out of it, removed from it, and we find out this whole Bayley stable thing was something she pitched to Vince years ago, and now it's finally happening, is a real big thing that shows how different it is. But yes, if Vince was in charge, he might still be able to set up a show similar to this, but he might have just had Bayley and not give a fuck about Dakota and Io.
But there have been other times where we've seen some people we've had people debut before. It's not like we haven't. So, and Io was still with the company, right? Or did she let her contract expire?
That was like the thing that was up in the air because there was a chance that she was like being in talks with going back to Stardom and be with Kyrie or stay with WWE. Like that's something we never knew about. She did tweet like saying those speculations are all untrue, like, and try to take the edge off like the idea like she's not under contract or she is. Like she didn't really talk about it, or at least expressed specifically that she is or is not still under contract. So that was still up in the air. But Dakota Kai, yeah, we knew she got released. So that was a big deal. And then we finally getting EO on the main roster was a big shock. That
Rockstar Spud got released and he came back. Like, so people do get released and come back. Is that really and I don't mean to shit on this moment. You know what? I am going to shit on that moment. Was that moment that awesome? Like, why is it because I'm removed from it? But when I watched that, I thought, oh, that's cool. But I did not think people would be talking about it like that was a huge moment in wrestling history. Like, people are treating that like it's the Hardy Boys' return at WrestleMania. Like, I think it's, for me, very forgettable. And, like, yeah, cool. They're on the main roster now. They're all back. There's a new stable of chicks. But I didn't think that it was wrestling so awesome because Dakota Kai came out.
And that might be the case, and like that's why I do want to see where this is going, because to me it feels like, and especially when you watch the show, most of the shows now of Raw and SmackDown are just former NXT guys. Again, the roster's full of that, but like they're the main focus now. We have a whole stable of women are NXT talents, and they're facing against 3 major NXT stars as well. That's what we have right now. It's just NXT taking over and filling up this show with amazing wrestling.
Well, and that was always the plan. Like, I remember that one time you told me, like, when Raquel and Bianca and they were all standing there, like, they're all NXT women. It's like every woman on there is an NXT woman. Like, Dana Brooke is an NXT woman. Like, the whole reason behind NXT was to be that feeder system to the main roster. So, and I didn't watch NXT 2.0 tonight. I don't know if, now that Vince is gone, I don't know if Triple H is going to be fixing that as well. I know that Tony D and our boy Santos, don't they have a big match next week at Heatwave or whatever?
Yes, where if Santos wins, then Legado del Fantasma gets to be free from the family. But if Santos loses, he is going to be banned from NXT, so we can go to the main roster, which hopefully that's the case.
Yeah, hey, let's see. Let's get some more guys on this main roster. I think more guys coming back to WWE is great as well, because I've said this before. It's so strange. Like, Miz and AJ Styles are just having a match, like, on Raw with no build. Like, I know that Miz isn't like the WWE icon, but it's still like you can frame that as a dream match. Like, Miz could cut a promo about, when I was main eventing WrestleManias, all I had to hear about was how great AJ Styles and TNA was. Like, you can set a whole rivalry up around those two guys being champions at similar times. But no, just have a random ass match on Raw, no disqualification. It's actually a rematch. They had that match a couple of weeks ago. They're doing, I like Raw. I did enjoy Raw. It was so different. It was just so different. All right. I love that. That's like the new word. It's different. SmackDown was different. Karrion Kross was there. But I don't think that Dakota and Io Sky coming out, which I know Kevin hates that name change. And I know as a wrestling fan, we're all supposed to hate name changes. I'm loving it, dude. Io Sky with the Y and the EO now makes way more sense, because it was IO at first. Like, it was Nexo.io first. Now it's Io Sky. Is this a name change you're behind?
I'm behind it mainly because the story behind her character, whole Lost in the Sky and the Empress of the Sky, like her whole character connect to Sky. So I was like, that makes sense to go with that, and makes it easier for people to know how to pronounce EO, because people, when they do see IO, they just see IO instead of EO.
What's the worst name change? What's Marcel Bartel's name? Ludwig? That is a bad name change. Like, and I like the Gunther because it at least sounds foreign, like it sounds European. Walter, he could be from Schitt's Creek, Alabama, with the name Walter. It's not like that's Walter White is the most famous Walter on television, I think. So it's probably Walter White and then Walter the dummy from Jeff Dunham. Like, there's other Walters in media. So I think switching his name to Gunther, who's the other famous Gunthers in history? The dude from Friends? Like, there's not, like, that's a great name for, like, and then when you pronounce it Gunther, it is like, oh shit, this guy's a badass. He's from another country. He's Austrian. He's fucking sweet. Ludwig is terrible, though. Marcel Bartel was such a great name. Why did they change that name? That's a perfect name. Is there one, like, immediately off the top of your head that, like, sticks in your mind? Like, that's the worst one, easily.
I do hate what's his name? Fucking Marcel Bartel's partner, fucking Fabian Eichner.
Oh, God.
Fabian Eichner's new name, Vinny Vici. I was like, no, we don't need that. No, Giovanna Vinci, that's his name. Giovanna Vinci. It's not a good name. I preferred fucking Fabian Eichner. It's such a better name.
Well, because isn't he German too? Like Fabian Eichner sounded like he fit well with Imperium. It sounds more intimidating and more badass. Like they're trying to make him like this smooth, suave Italian with like a Giovanni Vinci name. And why? What is that? Like we don't need that. Fabian Eichner, maybe because Eichner was spelled weird. They were like, no, people aren't gonna like that. We need something easier to spell. We need like something that people are gonna get behind. Nobody likes you as Fabian Eichner, but he's a heel. He's not supposed to be liked. So that's a good call out. The name change there, terrible. But even trying to think of a good like McMahon one where they
Malachi Black says he is Italian Vleeties.
Oh, then even worse. Now they made a more stereotypical Italian. Fabian Eichner is such a badass name. Giovanni Vinci sucks. Like, especially when you already have Tony D'Angelo. You have Kick-Ass Italian on your show. Why do you need to have another version of that? Like, why do you need another, like, Kick-Ass Italian? We're already hitting our stereotype quotas. So, and the name drops. Like, I remember thinking Adrian Neville was the worst name drop in history. Like, why would you go from Adrian Neville to just Neville? Because Neville, if we can talk about Harry Potter, was like the nerdy character in Harry Potter. So it's like, if you call him Adrian Neville, I know his name is Adrian. Like, that's his name. When you switch it to Neville, which is also a first name, now I'm wondering what his last name is. It just sounds like he's a nerd with one name. I always thought just Neville was stupid. Sometimes it works. Like Antonio Cesaro, I thought was kind of stupid. Cesaro sounds cool. And then Rusev, Alexander Rusev. I think Rusev sounds cool, just singular. Neville was terrible.
Neville was a terrible like name change, and just dropping that name. But name change I've just accepted, realized this is actually really good. Was LA Knight to Max Dupree.
Oh, God.
It grew on me, and I just accepted this is actually a really good name.
Yeah,
Perfect.
That's a much better name change.
Fits him.
Even Nathan in the chat, Pac is better than Neville. Honestly, yeah. I think that Neville's the worst name, and because it just sounds like a kid. It sounds like a kid in the playground named Neville is having a match with Austin Aries. Like, Austin Aries, great wrestling name. Alliterations, we love double A or A double. Like that's a great wrestler name. Neville is not a main event wrestling name, especially when he was the king of the cruiserweights. Neville. Like, it just sounded terrible. Make it something fake or intimidating. Like, what if Metallica's name was Neville? Like, no, it's not going to work. Just Theory sucks. I agree with Spliffsaw in the chat. Like, yeah, Austin Theory because even Theory is a word. It's not really a name. So when his name is Austin Theory, and then I heard him a few times, they talked about the Austin Theory. They put the in front of him, kind of like the Austin Star. Like, you can kind of, okay, I see how they're using that name. Now that he's Theory, like, it doesn't sound like a fighter, like a wrestler. It sounds like a mistake. So that's a terrible name drop. But I think Io Sky, great name change. And I really like, first of all, so I like that moment. I agree. I thought that was a good moment. But I didn't know that was going to be the one thing. Like, I thought the tractor at SummerSlam was a really cool addition. I thought that match was really good. I thought there were some great things at SummerSlam. So it's weird that when people are talking about SummerSlam was so memorable, it was because Bayley and two chicks walked out.
Well, I mean, that's because, like, again, we now know this is a pitch that was made years ago that Vince just completely went against.
I didn't know that.
This showed us it was completely different. Yeah, there was reports about this, that this was a pitch Bayley made that Vince just shot down. So again, this shows that Triple H listens to wrestlers who actually have good ideas to bring people up, and that this was just an immediate thing that Triple H wanted to do that day to set this up that they didn't know ahead of time. Nobody knew. But Vince. But Triple H.
Yeah.
This is a big moment, and like WWE has been different, because especially last night, if you were paying attention, like if it was on the Hulu Raw, the segments where we had like backstage in the parking lot, we had a car crash. Then later we see the car being towed and the security guards running backstage to the front of the camera. We don't know what's going on. Then we find out it being Dexter Lumis trying to crash the show and take over and possibly attack AJ or somebody. We don't know what his deal is. Like, we had like an overarching story that was just subtle storytelling like we used to have, where if you paid attention, you were smart enough and you actually kind of feel like you were vindicated for watching the show and actually paid attention. You liked the show.
Yeah,
that's gave you something good.
That's one thing that we were talking about at work was like even with SmackDown, it feels like things are blending into each other. So you have to watch the whole thing. You have to watch. Like if you turn away, you're gonna miss something, and that's what the show's been missing for so long. And like one thing that they, when they would do the Cody countdown, or even remember Lashley was gonna beat MVP for the title that night. They made that whole episode of Raw like I can't leave because I thought Lashley was gonna get the title match now. Turns out it's gonna be in an hour, and then it's gonna be in another hour. Like they just kept the whole show was like revolving around this one thing, so you had to stick around to see how it was gonna all end. But other than those episodes that were few and far between, it was really monotonous to just continue to watch. Like, last week on Raw, this happened. Now we're going to deal with these characters. Last week on Raw, this happened. Now we're going to deal with these characters. Earlier tonight, this happened. Here's a little follow-up. Here's what happened last week. Here's a match. Like, this show is now weaving together in a way where, yeah, you want to sit there and watch it. They show a promo package. I forget what it was for. I think it was like they showed me a really lengthy Judgment Day package, and I thought, what the fuck is this? And then they cut to like a Seth Rollins match, and I was like, oh, okay. And then they went to Judgment Day later on in the show. So it was like this, like, okay, we're not just doing, because we can do that with, we were all kids at one point. Like, I have my 10 wrestling toys. These two guys are in the main event of the show. These two guys are going to open the show. I need to find a space for every wrestling figure on the show. How do I make it all work? Not ever thinking I'm going to have this wrestling toy in the opening segment and then in this segment and then in the main event. Like, they're trying to just plug and play as they go. This actually feels like there's some ideas behind the booking, which maybe that's why it's different. Now, that main event was just pieced together, though.
It was pieced together, but it made sense with the story that they were going, even in the Ciampa match where we had a beat down, which then led to a match, which I thought that made sense. It was fine. And it was a really good main event, no DQ match, and then us getting the shots, and thankfully, again, they were smart with on the actual TV feed, not really showing us it's Dexter Lumis. But then on YouTube, because they don't like being subtle, then putting even in the title, Dexter Lumis crashes Raw. So in fact, saying that he was part of the car crash, directly saying it and admitting to it. So like it sucks that YouTube can't be subtle, but their TV show can be subtle as hell.
Well, if you're like me, you're definitely not even knowing about the YouTube shit. You're too busy with other stuff. Gino, where's the cover letter? Do I need to create that channel in the Discord?
I do need to actually write the cover letter. I did apply to a place though that I just decided not to put a cover letter. They had put it in my resume. I did that. Didn't put a cover letter in. Hopefully that'll still be fine. They'll accept it and they'll actually read it, but we'll see.
Where did you apply?
More places as well. I applied to some place for like a call center work, which I thought like this could be easy, remote work that I actually could just stay here and take like 40, 50 calls a day. I thought like this could be good.
There you go. I make 80 outbound a day. Sometimes I only make 40. So yes, that's a great job. Do that. Sell some shit. Is it sales or is it like, what is it?
I forget exactly what it is because I applied to it 2 days ago and I forgot to check up on that. My email hasn't come up with anything besides thank you for applying. So I'll double check and let you know what it was.
Yes, we got to get that phone voice, Gino. We got to get you calling. This is Gino from the whole fucking show. How are you today? I was just checking in. I heard that you listen to podcasts. Why aren't you listening to this one? So good questions all around. Gino, Ric Flair's last match. Now, this was an Impact Wrestling pay-per-view that had some other guys on it. What a show, though. I skipped some of it, TBH. I'm a Ric Flair fan. I'm a Josh Alexander fan. There was some others, the Motor City Machine Guns fan. There were some matches I just was not interested in on that card, and there's nothing they could have done to have made me, want to watch some of those matches. But I thought it was a fun show, all in all. I know that it's over a week old, but for those who hadn't seen it, Ric Flair had his last match. It was in Nashville. The crowd was lively. Dude, Undertaker was there. Like, I thought that was really cool, like seeing Undertaker out of character there. They had some, and that's why SummerSlam was so different, was we had Undertaker at a non-WWE event. Dude, what a fucking great show.
I thought it was really enjoyable, especially, again, one thing I loved, and yeah, I know maybe you didn't watch, was the pre-show we had. This big GCW takeover because Nick Gage.
I watched it, Gino. Don't worry. Yes. Long live GCW.
It was a great moment. Like that's like Nick Gage said, like he's gonna take over. He's like gonna run in and have this big moment. And he brought in all these great guys for G7. We had that big moment where Mansoor got a big W, so he's prepared for his AEW match, which he got weeks later. It's like he at least got to show people off like who Mance Warner is, because maybe nobody knew Mance Warner at the time, and thankfully they do now. After that and after Rampage, they got to see just how great Mance Warner, the wrestler, is. And we had like again great matches, great tag team matches. Black Taru saved Bandito from almost dying from a botch, which I liked because
I didn't watch that.
Black Taru is a hero because Bandito tried to go for a suicide dive with Black Taru, and Bandito's head almost fucking landed right onto the fucking carpet or whatever, the ground. But Black Taru was holding him the entire time, and then he took a Canadian Destroyer from that position. So again, Black Taru saved himself and then took a big bump just for that, just to save Bandito. Great match.
Bully Ray looked awesome, by the way. That was one thing that I thought was like really overlooked was how come Bully Ray's not wrestling somewhere full time? He must be really happy doing Busted Open and just kind of being an analyst at this point. Like he is the retired football player. He's no longer interested in playing the game. He likes being able to watch other people do it. You know, he talks about Raw.
Tyler Spida says Darian loves Geno.
Darian, you're loving Geno. Geno, Darian loves you. Okay, he liked me earlier. Now he loves you and your wrestling opinions. But yeah, I thought Bully Ray looked incredible. He's in really good shape. And dude, like where that appearance, does that lead to, hey, you know what, GCW is going to do some more work with Bully Ray?
I would love that. I would love if Bully Ray shows up at GCW because we do have this new shit, like these events coming up, and one of them we're going to have Ernest and Cat Miller being there. So I'm looking forward to seeing if maybe some other people are going to show up with Ernest, and if Ernest is actually going to wrestle. It's going to be exciting.
I think Bully Ray looked awesome. I think if he wants to keep wrestling, I think it's a great idea. Devon, if he wants to get out of shape and just work in the office, that's his prerogative. But Bully Ray, we could still use that character. That character is going to make more sense the more woke everything gets. You just bring out a big bully asshole. I mean, that'll get heat, dude. That's what we need. So, big fan of that. So that was the only pre-show match then, right?
I believe that was the only. No, there was the NJPW match where you or Yamura had a match, but yeah, that was not that important for you that you would care.
I didn't even see it. Yeah, I'm looking at a Bleacher Report list. I didn't even see that on here. So I remember watching the Battle Royal.
He told me it was pre-show, some guy. Yeah. There was some singles match that a friend of mine said, like, I think it was Trash told me it was on the pre-show earlier on, like the first match, but I guess it wasn't on the actual fight feed for all.
Maybe it was, so I did just watch a 4-hour file of it, and I just kind of fast forwarded around. And so during the Bunkhouse Battle Royal, they did say like the show starts in 20 minutes. So I thought this was the show. So yes, this was pre-show. But then, dude, Machine Guns versus the Wolves. Eddie Edwards sucks. I was very excited for this match because I like Davey Richards. I like the Motor City Machine Guns. Eddie Edwards I don't like anymore, but at least he's with Davey Richards, which is like my favorite version of Eddie Edwards. And Eddie Edwards did his best to drag this match down, and it just kind of ended. I know that this was like an indie show, so there's not really a bunch of storytelling that's going to be happening here, but it just sort of ended, didn't it? The Guns just sort of won, and kind of an easy pinfall. I don't know.
I mean, it kind of did just end, but I do feel like maybe there was like having to rush for a little bit of time, so like they had to get to a finish that made sense. So hitting the classics and doing the actual real finish of the Motor City Machine Guns with the big win, I thought perfect. I thought like it was a good match, first opening match, the actual opening show match. I was like, this made sense. It was a good, quick match. Motor City Machine Guns winning like they should, because Eddie Edwards is a loser.
Well, yeah, and they're not even a tag team full time, so this like helps the Guns. This helps the Guns more than it would help the Wolves. It was cool to see the Wolves back together, even in like a non-kayfabe world, which was also kind of interesting with this whole event because there was some kayfabe later on. Like, they Impact did a really good job at not letting too much kayfabe happen on this card, but we did get kayfabe later on with Matt Cardona. So that part was a little strange to me. Like, why are we in kayfabe or are we not? Scott D'Amore came out during this match and did a great job on commentary. The commentary I thought was actually pretty good for this. I'm hearing mixed reviews from people that nobody liked the commentary, but I thought it was great. I thought Tony Schiavone did a good job. This might be my favorite Tony performance in his career.
I think it was a really good Tully performance, especially because there were so many other people besides him and David. We had Ian Riccaboni at one point. We had all these different commentators. Well, Tom Hannafin for the Knockouts title match, which was really good. Seeing the contrast of everyone else who does a great job in their respective companies in their commentary field. I thought it was a really good show for the commentary teams.
So the Harry Smith match, I watched a little bit of it. I was getting bored though, and I just decided this has no repercussions, so I just kind of fast forwarded through this one. Harry Smith looks good. It kind of makes you wonder why it didn't work for him in WWE. It just seems like such an obvious make him wear British Bulldog shit and come out with a dog. People are going to love that, and it just never worked out for him. And maybe there's a chance now with Triple H back in power, but this match was pretty boring. So I just fast forwarded. I just thought, I got it. Karrion Kross, I got it. He's going to win. Why would Harry Smith win? So I just kind of fast forwarded to, Karrion Kross won the match. Did you watch this one?
I did watch this one. I was hopeful for this match because I was like, these are two really good wrestlers. Harry Smith is great in MLW and the indie scene he's been working, and Karrion Kross basically is trying to run roughshod, take over this indie scene, working everywhere he can. It's like Killer Kross having this big win. I was like, this was something that was going to matter, and now he's in WWE, so now it doesn't matter to MLW. We just had Harry Smith lose. So I thought that was a good thing for Karrion Kross to get a big win.
You pour the milk before the cereal?
I pour the cereal before the milk.
Oh, okay, good. I was so nervous. Tyler Spider or Darian wrote in the chat, never trust a man who pours the milk before the cereal. And I was like, what? This is anarchy. I didn't know that was a thing that people even tried to do. I didn't watch the Fatal 4-Way. I like Takeshita. I like Alan Angels, not a Gresham guy, not a Nick Wayne guy. You probably love this match. This is a Geno match if I've ever heard one. A Fatal 4-Way with nothing on the line between four guys that I don't like. That sounds like your match.
Nick Wayne, as I feel, is the future of pro wrestling. Nick Wayne is an amazing wrestler. And being the son of Buddy Wayne, which Buddy Wayne also trained the amazing sports analyst that is Brian Alvarez, everyone's favorite. Because no one likes Uncle Dave. They prefer Brian, who's actually going to be coming back to the ring one more time. I'm excited for that. Him fighting Tom Lawler. That's beside the point. Him fighting his buddy. We had Nick Wayne have this big match, and Alan Angels, but Jonathan Gresham had to get his big moment back to have that momentum and possibly keep him going and not just be done with wrestling for good. So Jonathan Gresham had to have this big win and be able to prove why he should still be wrestling.
Is that a rumor? Was he going to retire?
But he kind of deleted his Twitter account, was saying after this year, after he finished what he was doing, he was going to stop, because he even stopped the entire promotion of Terminus that he made here in Atlanta, which I was sad about.
Wow, I didn't know all that. I didn't know he was going to be. I'm not. No offense, I'm not going to miss him. I mean, he's had some matches, and he's had matches, but that's bizarre. I didn't know that. Hey, I lost a belt. I'm fucking retiring. I'm done with this shit. I did not watch this Brian Pillman Brock Anderson tag match. No interest in that. We didn't even talk about that.
You have no interest in the new Four Horsemen? God damn it, you don't care about the Horsemen.
Horsemen suck, dude. WWE for life. Ray Phoenix, Bandito, Black Taru, and Ray Phoenix, right? This list doesn't have Ray Phoenix, Bandito, Black Taru, Laredo Kid. Okay, there we go. I was like, this list says 3 people, and I'm looking at a picture of 4 people. This was the AAA Lucha Libre match. I watched the entrances, and then the match started, and then I just knew that this wasn't for me. There was 2 Fatal 4-Ways in one card. What is this, WWE?
This is to give everyone all these amazing moments and spots, especially with the AAA match, having people like Laredo Kid, who is an amazing high flyer, as well as Ray Phoenix, and having Bandito, who's a really good wrestler, but having Black Taru, who is just a mixture of everything that professional wrestling is, and is the best of all 4 of them, but he, of course, doesn't win because AEW has to win.
Oh, yeah, I forget Ray Phoenix works at AEW. Black Taru sucks. Yeah, I know you like him, but he's not good. He saved a guy's ass. He also has bad matches on Impact. So I'm glad that Ray Phoenix won. Former Impact superstar, by the way. So let's not pretend that he didn't pay his dues in Impact Wrestling. But then the Impact World Champion Josh Alexander, Jacob Fatu, my main event. I forgot this was Ric Flair's last match when this match started. I was so excited for this match. What the fuck, Gino? Why did Matt Cardona
Malachi Black says, who the fuck are these bums?
Matt Cardona and Brian Myers had the balls to interrupt this match. Why?
It's because we had to have this big moment where Matt Cardona, he's finally cleared, he's back, he's going to do all this shit again and be world champion, be the belt collector again. But sadly, he gets beaten up a little bit. But I was just hopeful that since we're doing all of this, maybe, just maybe, since I think he'd be there in Nashville to help his friend, even though he's not his friend technically because he's Contra, we could have Mads Kruger save Jacob.
Why? No, that wouldn't happen.
Didn't show up. It wouldn't make sense.
They just had
but
like a war.
It needs to be kayfabe. Just have Mads Kruger back.
Because
I love Mads Kruger.
But
Mads Kruger's the best.
Mads Kruger should have came out with Matt Cardona. Like, that might have made more sense. But there's no reason why Matt Cardona and Jacob Fatu just had like what was that, jungle war? What did they call that match? Like, yeah, they're
weapons of mass destruction.
Yeah, there's definitely no way they're teaming up at any time soon. And is Smart Mark Sterling, is he hanging out with Matt Cardona often? Like, that also felt random. Like, why is he here?
They've been on the whole Major Figure podcast is Brian Myers, Matt Cardona, and Smart Mark Sterling. All
Split
three of them.
Swa says bunch of overall 68s.
Oh, I didn't know.
No, they're 80s.
A bunch of overall 68. That's classic. Smart Mark Sterling is for sure a 68. Brian Myers is at
70.
least. Brian Myers is. He's
90.
I was going to say he's a 90. Matt Cardona's an 80.
89.
No, Matt Cardona, you know what? He might be a 68. Brian Myers is the most professional wrestler. Like, Matt Cardona's not.
But Matt Cardona is the closest friend to the most professional wrestler. So he's learned a lot, so he should get his rating boosted up. Not close to 90, but like 85, 86.
He's lower than Zicky Dice. Zicky Dice was at least under the learning tree. Matt Cardona wasn't. So, Smart Mark, I didn't know. I don't listen to that major. How's that podcast? Good podcast?
I've always kind of enjoyed their stuff, especially the content creation they've been doing, going to halls, buying toy and collectors, and knowing the history of these toys. Some of them, it's very interesting. When you really see the LGN and all the other toy companies that have come and gone, and how much these toys actually go for nowadays. It's weird.
I think one time when I had the flu, I watched a bunch of those. They were on the network at the time, the WWE network, when they would go to stores and buy toys. And those were pretty funny to watch those videos, to watch two grown men go into a toy store.
Catch the buzz, feel the sting.
Oh, thank you, Spliff Swa. I appreciate the fireball, my friend. Yeah, to them going to the store, and Zack Ryder at one point was like, do you guys have like a cart? And the guy was like, no, this is a toy store. He wanted a grocery cart for the toy store. He was buying so much shit. So those were fun. I just didn't know their podcast was still going around. I didn't know that you were Smart Mark's on the podcast with them. I never even knew that. What's your big addiction right now for wrestling podcasts? What do you still listen to all of them, by the way? What's your go-to, Wednesday drops, I'm listening to Renee. Does she drop on Wednesdays? Walk me through your podcast listening routine.
The big one I've actually been listening to now, just because I'm a fan of these guys as the content creators they are, just what they've been able to do with their own real independent wrestling promotion, has been Deadlock. DPW, it's Tony Pizza Guy, CM Pulse, and Johnny from New Legacy Inc. And they have their own actual wrestling promotion that they run stuff in North Carolina. So they have their own independent promotion where a lot of guys show up there. JTG's been there. Kid Bandit's on there every single time. It's it's an amazing independent promotion. I've watched almost every event of theirs, and they just had one this last Saturday. I'm excited when it does drop on actual pay-per-view to watch.
Fascinating. So you that's not what I thought you were going to say at all. But that's one, when that drops, you're immediately gotta listen to that. Because I don't know if I have that anymore. I love listening to Kevin and Tyler. But there's never I listened to Steven Larson. That was last year, right? Or 2 years ago. I think I had listened to them for a little bit. I gave up on them because it was all, good God, they just could not stop being the most liberal pieces of shit. Just the most condescending, no, we're correct no matter what. So, I listened to them for a month, and I was like, I think I could like this, because they broke down Impact and nobody else did. And then I gave up on them immediately, Gino. Remember when they were Tommy Dreamer needs to educate himself? Wasn't that disgusting?
It was kind of disgusting, but Tommy Dreamer has educated himself. He has his own podcast, and he actually did have an interview with what his name was in the indie scene right at the end before he gets signed back to WWE. Hatchet, now Sam Shaw, Dexter Loomis. he actually decided to discuss with him like the other week, and I did listen to that because I was very interested in seeing what they were going to discuss, and if Patcher was going to stay in character, if he done talking. We actually had a whole discussion with Dexter Lumis talking, which I thought was really nice.
Well, also, was he in character or is out of character, right?
He was out of character fully. He actually did discuss and actually talk with Dreamer about stuff that he asked about. It was very interesting knowing about Sam Shaw's past.
Did they talk about the greatest storyline of his career with Gunner?
I did not get to that point because I was getting to early parts of his life, like what got him into wrestling, like him training, and I kind of paused that for a minute because I was in the middle of something else, and I didn't get a chance to continue.
What were you in the middle of?
I got some stuff going on. Don't worry about it. It's personal things happening. Things go on.
Like what? What's happening?
Don't worry. Everything's fine. I made sure everything's good. But
I get
busy sometimes.
You got busy.
Yes.
You know the word the word busy comes from business.
Yes.
TWFS says hard workout tonight since you skipped it last week. PS Geno has nothing happening.
Geno has something happening, okay? Don't worry about Sonic_Geno. He's got something. What was it, though?
See, that's the thing you don't need to know. No one needs to know this person.
You're just lying to my face.
Everything's private.
You're lying to me.
I'm not lying to anybody. I don't got to tell you guys anything. It's stuff happening around the family, personal things around the family, but everything's good.
What is so personal? You can just tell me.
Yeah, it's just some stuff, Some stuff happened. We need to discuss a little bit of an argument that happened, but everything's good.
Between whom? You and stepdad?
My family.
You and stepdad? He seems like a good dude. I think if you opened up to him and just let him know what's going on in your head. And by the way, there's too much going on up there, Geno. You gotta break free. Geno, you're gonna be fine.
I know, and that's the thing. That's what I am getting back to is actually having proper conversations and not just stuff like what we're doing, to have actual socialization. I think that is something that does and will help me better.
Can't believe the Von Erichs job to the Briscoes. I thought the Briscoes were on there putting everybody over tour. Why the fuck would the Von Erichs have to lose to these guys? Everybody's beating the Briscoes. Why not give the Von Erichs the big W here?
Because the Von Erichs are an amazing family that don't mind doing the job for a tag team that knows that this could be their match. Because I think this might be the best Von Erichs matches with the Briscoes.
Oh, you obviously didn't watch that chain match they had with Kevin Koo and Dominic Guarini, the crippler of Canton, Ohio. The ropes were replaced by chains. Even my dad watched that match. He thought it was awesome.
Tom Lawler should have been involved more in that match.
He was involved. You don't remember.
He should have been in the match.
He was in a lot of ways. You need to go back and watch MLW.
He was not officially in the match.
Knockouts championship match. Jordan Grace, Deonna Purrazzo looking like a snack. Rachel Ellering, your favorite. You think she's hot, right? You're a Rachel Ellering guy?
She's really attractive and she's really good in the ring. I was surprised that this match went on as long as it did. They gave them some time and actually ended up being a really good match.
Why? What do you mean? What do you mean you're surprised?
Again, I thought with an independent show like this, especially with how close we were to the Ric Flair last match, we might give the Ric Flair match 30 minutes. And I thought it was going to be an exciting match. It was close to. I was surprised how close 30 minutes it was.
I thought it was an hour. I was shocked by how long that match was.
It was such a good match. And I was surprised. I was okay, they might cut this. This might be the match they'll cut, have it be a little bit shorter just to get to that main event. But no, they actually gave these knockouts a good bit of time. Deonna looked like she was going to win, but because it was for the knockouts title, we knew Deonna was not winning because we have to have Mia Yim would challenge for the title. And it has to be Jordan Grace because that's the promo for
that's kind of what we're building towards. It did feel weird that they had a title match on this show and they had Deonna in it because those who watch Impact knew no, this isn't. They're not switching belts here. We're building towards Yim and Grace. That's announced for the premium live event. We're not going to switch it here.
And Deonna would then have to do double duty. I don't think they would do that to Deonna because she has the tag team title match with as Vexed versus the fucking Decay.
Yeah, there's too many. Yeah, for those who watch it, the hardcores like us, we already knew what was going to happen. Yeah, Geno, that's a good question. What other podcast do you listen to where the host goes, you guys don't need to know anything about me at all? Now, here's what I think. Geno, we're trying to get an insight as to who's giving their opinions on wrestling. So when we say, when you say I was busy, so I didn't get to finish something, and then we go, what were you busy with? And you go, don't worry about it. We have no idea if we should trust you or hear your next thought.
I guess that's a good question. That's something I will keep in mind, and I will be more open and honest with you guys in the future. So I do apologize. There we go. Nice YouTube apology right there for everybody.
But what was the argument about? Was it about Gino, don't get a job, all right? You don't need a job. Don't listen to me and Nathan. You need to watch more wrestling. You need to just stay there. You need to watch. Did you even listen to Renee Paquette this week?
I was not interested in her or even the out of character fucking Ryan Sand shit like I used to.
You need to come on. You got to watch those things, dude. That's what you love.
I enjoy more actual pro wrestling. That's when I saw good wrestling this past week on Raw, like last night on Raw and SmackDown had good wrestling. We actually just have good professional wrestling. I'm like, I don't need to hear people talk about their past. I can just talk about the present and the future of pro wrestling like we had with Dolph Ziggler.
Spliff Swa says I used to fuck petite goth hoes in scenes.
Is that what you did, Gino?
I not like some were petite, but not all of them were petite girls. I'd say and they were not all goths. Like few to come in were goths, but not all.
Have you ever had sex with a woman that looked like a potato?
Like shaped like a potato?
Yeah.
One was close to the potato shape, yeah.
Gino, tag team match. Ric Flair, Andrade versus Jarrett and Lethal. Karen Jarrett's lip fillers kind of settled. She looked hot again, okay? When Kevin showed that picture, that video of her, she looked so fucking terrible. It was so scary. I thought her face was made of potatoes. She looked like Mr. Potato Head from Toy Story 3 when he put his pieces on the tortilla and he had to walk around as a tortilla. It was disgusting. Then during this match, she was so hot. This match was so great. Karen Jarrett looked amazing, Gino. Did you ever do a scene with a woman that looked like Karen Jarrett?
Not someone who looked like Karen Jarrett, no, but like this match was exciting to me. Jeff Jarrett is the greatest of all time. I feel he's almost there. He should have, because with a match like Jeff Jarrett, he should have tried to rebook the finish, have him get over. That's what it should have been. Jeff Jarrett should have won Ric Flair's last match. But this was a great match. Ric Flair faking the heart attack. And apparently some reports saying he passed out from dehydration during the match too. So like, I'm interested like when those spots where he passed out. So we could see where this, like I was surprised how long the match went and that Ric Flair was able to go that long. But having Jeff Jarrett there, being the best heel in the business is great. Biggest heel in Nashville.
Is that what you got from this match? I got that Andrade should be the WWE Undisputed World Heavyweight Universal Champion. Like he came out wearing undies, which I thought, dude, your thighs are incredible. Why do you wear pants all the time, you fucking idiot? And this, you know, that's definitely Flair, right? Remember, Flair is the one who told Orton, look at the legends, look what they're wearing. You don't want to wear these fucking biker short bullshit things like you're Jeff Jarrett or his old man. So Andrade came out dressed like a wrestler. He stole the show. Amazing performance. They're all asking him like, hey, Andrade, after having such a great match, do you question your booking in AEW? They put a microphone in front of him and he's like, well, yeah, no shit. I should be the world champion somewhere. And I'm not even on the show half the time. This was fantastic. Jay Lethal did a great job as well. Isn't it weird that he's 20 years into his career and he's just now hitting that spot? Like he's just now that main eventer. I feel like I know AEW he's ranked number 1 and it's confusing, but watching him in this match and then just the tie-ins between him and Flair and the longest reigning Ring of Honor World Television Champion, there's all these little nuggets that they kind of threw in there that I was like, Jay Lethal's had a fucking run for the kid from Elizabeth, New Jersey.
He has. That's like Jay Lethal's always been right at the cusp of being world champion, similar to Monty Brown. He never really got that moment in TNA, and Monty Brown's just done. But Jay Lethal still is going. Hopefully one day he does get that moment to be the real world champion like he did with Ring of Honor for a very short period of time.
Why did you equate those two? Is because they're both black? Where did that come from? Where did Monty Brown come from?
Because Monty Brown, I feel like, was where Jay Lethal is right now. Like Monty Brown was always like right in that world title picture where we feel like he could do it. He could have this. We had that biggest match of all time with him and Jeff Jarrett for the World's Championship. And Jeff Jarrett wins because Jeff Jarrett always wins because Jeff Jarrett's the best.
It's my world.
So, yes, it's his world. It's my world all the time. It's the best fucking theme song in wrestling because Jeff Jarrett knows wrestling.
But Monty Brown, I know you just meant that as a throwaway line, but Monty Brown was a former football player who just kind of showed up, learned how to wrestle, and he was a good fit in TNA. They built him up to be a main eventer. He probably should have won the title at one point, but Jay Lethal's got some mileage, dude. Jay Lethal's been wrestling on the indies, and Jay Lethal wasn't born 6'2", 250 like Monty Brown was. Like, Jay Lethal should not fit in any sort of main event. Ric Flair even told him that. You're an opening match kind of guy. So to see Lethal in this match, and actually it worked. I was very proud of him for some reason. Like, this is the guy that I watched with no gimmick whatsoever in the early days of TNA, and then they tried to find anything for him, and then he became the Macho Man. And then they had Sanjay Dutt become the Guru. Like, these two guys who really were so disposable, in the grand scape of wrestling, hung around and became something. So this was very inspiring. Jeff Jarrett, it's so funny. Out of all the people, I feel like these other three outshined Jarrett. 4 people. Karen was outstanding in this match. But Flair did a good job. I think his purple outfit was a little bit of a poor choice. Just wear black. Black is the slimming color, not purple. And it was a really lengthy match. I like the amount of time that they gave it. And that Andrade can work his ass off, dude. I think he's got a big future.
He absolutely does have a big future. Jay Lethal still has a good future ahead of him. Jeff Jarrett can work so well. And what I loved is earlier in the show, we had this really good promo segment where we had Jeff Jarrett, his dad, and Jerry the King Lawler just talking shit, just running shit down of Ric Flair and how much he's just a failure, and that this match is just a big moment for Jeff Jarrett to prove the chosen one is the man. He can beat Ric Flair finally, have this big moment of the real horseman that is Jeff Jarrett.
Andrade is only 32 years old. Like, we're so ready for him to be the top of a company. I think he needs to go back to WWE. When's this AEW contract running up? Did Tony buy him for 10 years as well?
It probably is another 5-year deal, and right now him and Roosh are going to be facing the Lucha Bros tomorrow. Like, we're putting him in the tag division, which is fine, but he needs to be world champion at least one time in AEW.
I don't even know if it's in AEW. I feel like that title doesn't mean shit anymore since CM Punk won it. We need to get him in the WWE. Triple H is in charge now. We can finally all admit AEW sucks. We're like Nathan. We're like Tyler. We're like you. We all hate that shit. It's WWE number 1, Impact number 2, New Japan number 3, and then a very distant 4th is MLW, and then in 5th, it's AEW.
And I would say GCW is ahead of AEW. There's some good matches AEW has, good moments, but it's not as big as GCW with them having Art of War Games 2, which is going to be amazing. AEW has a shitty fucking, we're going to have blood and guts. That's nothing compared to Art of War Games.
Art of War, GCW kind of sucks. Do you like it because it feels like it's yours? It's just dirtier and grungier, and it feels like it's yours. Is that why you like it?
It feels like I'm finding these guys. So they're in the independent scene. They're getting these moments, these spots. A lot of people can get coming to this independent show, but seeing some of them starting off and being here, like a Blake Christian who's never really gotten that chance, and WWE just releases him, and people like Mance Warner, who WWE would never ever hire. But we have him here in GCW, working MLW, working these promotions that are like indies, and AEW finally has him for at least a match, 3 matches technically, but he's not been signed anywhere, and he probably never will be signed anywhere. So he's working, making money, getting that pay window, and being the greatest Southern wrestler right now. Mance Warner.
What? The greatest Southern wrestler? Cody? Not better than Cody?
I'd say Mance Warner is better than Cody.
Is he Southern? Isn't he from Virginia?
It's the southern part of Virginia, so technically Southern. Very
the
Southern.
Greatest wrestler in Southern Virginia.
Pack.
Where's Mance Warner from? Because I watched Mance Warner on that CZW Greatest of, and he put on a good match. I thought that was from a long time ago. I didn't realize that was a recent match that I had watched. Mance Warner is, let's see, he's wrestling on the independent. He competed this. It doesn't say early career. Let's see, early career. He debuted at Indiana. It says here that he wrestled there. He wrestled in Georgia. They don't say he's from Tennessee. Okay, so that's the South. Okay, he's billed from Bucksnort, Tennessee. That sounds fake, but he's not the greatest Southern wrestler. Geno, JBL. Oh my gosh, Texas Forever 7. Jonathan Gresham.
Jonathan JBL is a great Texas wrestler, but he's not currently active. So again, active, current currently active Southern wrestler, Matt Warner, number 1. Then Cody, number 2.
Better than Gresham?
Yes, he's better than Gresham, I gotta say.
Oh my gosh.
Gresham, but Matt Warner, he's the best.
You love Jonathan Gresham. How dare you even say that? I can't. What about Andrade? He's a better Southern wrestler.
He is an amazing wrestler as well, and especially like his match, Jar Gargano, which I feel Jar Gargano really made that match the 5-star classic that Dave Meltzer gave it, which I feel was an amazing match.
It was both of them. It takes 2 to do that.
Yes, it does, but Jar Gargano pushed it up to that.
Dalton Castle.
Dalton is another really good wrestler, but like he's there because the boys help make him better.
He's from New York. He doesn't count. Daniel Garcia.
Daniel Garcia is also very entertaining. The Red Death, he's entertaining. He's all about the entertainers, and he's going to be the future of AEW as an entertainer.
Who else is from the South? Yeah, Mance Warner is not even top 10 Southern wrestlers. That's mean. Can't believe you said that out loud. He's not even as good as. I had to say. They're like everybody from. There's got to be 10 better Southern wrestlers. AJ Styles, he's from the South.
Okay, he is like up there. AJ Styles actually is the best wrestler of all time right now.
Right, all time, right now. I like
all time, right now. AJ Styles number
all
1.
Time,
O'Brien,
right
number
now.
2.
Josh Alexander.
Josh Alexander, I don't know, he's up there yet.
He's from Canada.
He needs to get some more years in.
He's from Canada.
Here's the thing. So we're talking against Southern wrestling.
Joe Doring.
Joe Doring. He's an All Japan legend.
Diener.
Right there, All Japan. Diener's getting there. He's slowly going to get up there. But what we got to talk about, we don't know where Matt.
Trevor Murdoch.
Lance Kane was better. But the big thing, and no one like Jeff
Brody King.
Now you see that Brody King, another good wrestler. Another really good ROH wrestler.
Where's the Moss from? Isn't he from Arkansas?
No, I don't believe he's from actual other country. I think he's from the Uganda. I don't know if that's just his gimmick or he actually was born there, built there legitimately. But a wrestler who we don't know where he's from, and I'm actually very interested, is Mads Kruger, because I do feel Mads Kruger is better than Matt Warner.
Whoa, I can't believe you said that. Now I'm going to have to defend Mads
Warner. You
don't
like Mads?
I love Mads Kruger. I remember, dude, come on. MLW is fantastic. So are you watching more MLW now too? Are you just so back into wrestling?
I'm starting to watch MLW more, yeah. When I saw that they just decided, hey, we're going to upload the Weapon of Mass Destruction match, I've watched that 2 times.
It's 2 times, and no cover letters to show for it.
I'd get no cover letters, but 2 times in a week I watched this match. It was that good because I was Jacob Fott 2 and Mads Kruger, 2 of the best MLW have right now. Alex Hammerstone, he's number 3.
He's number 1. Hammerstone 1. Holiday 2 by far. Holiday rules, and at least you have 2. It's actually getting better. So I think we covered it. This was so niche. Everybody wonders how niche are we going to get. We ran down Ric Flair's last match way more than I intended to tonight. And then, I look, Raw's different, okay? So NXT was different. Nikita Lyon is now on the main roster as a tag team wrestler. This is going to be fun going forward. So, we'll watch some more MLW. I've even pondered about moving us to Thursday so we have more time to watch some of these other wrestling shows during the week. But we'll talk about that in the future. But I think we covered it. Any final things, Gino? Any non-Mads Kruger related final things?
Well, if I can't talk about the future that is Mads Kruger, I guess I could talk about how just amazing this WWE is going to become in the next few weeks, where we are going to find out who the final 2 tag teams are going to be that hopefully are going to be facing each other at Clash at the Castle, where we then will determine. Actually, I don't think that could happen because we had the 6-woman tag match too. So I'm just looking forward to seeing where this is going to go because I'm curious what we're going to do. And if, at the end, whoever wins, we're going to have the face-off with the real champs, Naomi and Sasha.
Yeah, I have a feeling Naomi and Sasha are coming back. I think I haven't seen them do anything else. I think that seems kind of the obvious. They're just going to come back in and have the belts, and we're going to have a title match at some point. So, of course, that's just fantasy booking with Triple H at the helm. Because I always say this about Tony Khan. AEW is going to be forever relying on somebody to return or somebody to debut, from outside the company. Dexter Lumis coming back to WWE isn't that big of a deal, but it feels like it's a big deal because WWE hasn't had those moments in a long time. Same with Dakota Kai. The fact that people are like, what an amazing SummerSlam. Dakota Kai was there is that. That's all she did was show up, and people are like, oh my gosh, this show's way better than it used to be. People are freaking out when people just Karrion Kross shows up. There's a new vibe in WWE where who's going to show up tonight? I have no idea. This is crazy. This is insane. So why not have a big moment with Sasha and Naomi coming back with the belts? And I think that'll be a lot of fun. So plenty more niche wrestling to get into. I'll be back tomorrow night, as will Geno, for the whole fucking show. It's going to be an amazing time. Dynamite's going to be awesome tomorrow. I love Wednesdays are so fun. Like Tuesdays are my long day at work. Then I do 2 discussions on Tuesday nights. So Wednesdays, I'm just in a positive mood all day because we get to watch AEW Dynamite. And then Kev B. Cool and I run down the hottest headlines in wrestling history, at least for the week. It's going to be fun, and it's going to be different, you know? Triple H is in charge, so I think TWFS is going to be different, Gino. What do you say?
I feel like everything's going to be different in the pro wrestling world. Everything's changing. Everything's getting better. Some people may say it's getting worse, but I feel like this is the moment where we are getting more independent, more NXT guys being on TV, and people seeing just how good these guys really are finally on the main screen. It's just exciting.
Gargano, he didn't go anywhere because he knew it was coming, bro. Gargano, Candice, Indy, they're all still there. The way it's coming to the WWE main roster. Theory's going to be champion. Gargano's going to help him. He's going to manage his son. This is going to be a good time. So we'll do that all tomorrow. Thank you guys so much for coming in and hanging out. Have a good fucking night, folks. I can't wait